Hello everyone, my name is Tracy Talgan and today we're going to be making a paper cube out of some book pages. With this design you can either leave the sides open or you can turn it into a lantern with some tissue paper or parchment paper. This is an origami design, so we're going to be making this cube just by folding paper and connecting it together. You're going to need a book that has pages the size at least 20 centimeters by 20 centimeters. And we're going to be using 12 of these pages. For this project, you'll need 12 pages, a pencil, and a ruler. And glue and a paintbrush and parchment paper are optional if you're going to be making the lantern. And you'll also need a pair of scissors. Our first step is to cut our paper down to size of 20 centimeters by 20 centimeters. We're going to be having 12 of these 20 centimeter squares. This paper cube design is made up of 12 pieces of paper that are all folded the same way. So I'm going to show you the series of folds that you need to make each of these components with. I'm going to show that to you 4 times, and then you're going to do that series of folds for each component until you've used up all 12 pieces of paper. You'll have 12 components at the end. I'll walk you through the series of folds for this first piece of paper, and then that will be the same that you do for all 12 pieces of paper. Fold your paper in half. Then unfold it. Now we're going to take the bottom and fold it up to the center crease that we just made. And we're going to do the same on the other side. Then we're going to fold the bottom up to the center again. And we'll do that for the other side also. Next, we're going to turn the whole piece of paper over, and we're going to grab the bottom left corner and bring it up to the top of that piece of paper. But we're going to leave the upper back half on the top. That won't be folded. We're going to turn our paper upside down, and then we're going to do the same thing again for the bottom left corner. These folds are made just to determine where our next fold is actually going to happen. We're going to take our ruler and use it as a guide, placing the ruler at the bottom of that left triangle, slanted towards the top of that right triangle, as shown. And once you have your ruler in this position, we're going to fold that top half of the paper down over it. The ruler makes this folding easier to do. We're going to remove the ruler. Fold your paper down. And then we're going to turn it around. And we'll be folding the bottom left corner along the edge of that fold that we had just done. You're going to be bringing up the entire piece of that left side to match it along that fold. Then we're going to flip our piece over and do the same thing with that other corner. So we'll turn the piece around and bring up the entire left side to make a triangular shape along that fold that we had just made earlier. And this is what our finished component is going to look like. We're going to do that exact sequence of steps and folds for all 12 pages of paper. I'm going to show you that 3 more times so you'll be able to follow along, and then you'll be doing that for the rest of the pages of paper, and then I will show you how to assemble the cube. Now that we've got our 12 pieces of paper folded, we're going to start the assembly of the cube. We'll begin with 2 of the components. Each component is going to be identical in its position, in that no matter which way you hold it, whether forwards or backwards, it's going to be the same on each side. We're going to be slotting one of the ends of one component into the middle slit that you can see right there. We're going to hold the component that we're going to slot into that middle part this way. You take the end, open up that middle piece, and slot that end piece into it. What will happen is that will create a line to form the edge of the cube. We're going to create one side of our cube by repeating that procedure. So take another component. I'm going to grab the end piece on the left, and we're going to find that middle section that we can pull apart slightly and slot that end piece in. Line up your edges and folds so that way they fit well together. And we're going to do the same thing for the other side of that first side of the cube. So now we need to connect that whole side of the cube, and you do this by just sort of gently lifting that end piece from underneath the component that we just slotted in, so that way we can get that end piece to slot into the bottom right of that corner. Now when I did that, the piece that it already had slotted in came out, so we just sort of have to keep connecting those as they pop out. Shouldn't happen too often, but you're always going to want to slot that into the same position. All of the connections that are made in this cube are always going to be this maneuver right here. We're always placing that end of that component into that middle slot. You can move the ends around as needed. I find that if I fold it and then move the piece up, then it will help stay in place at the other end of it better. And you can unfold the component as well that you're sliding that piece into, just to help place it a little bit easier. And then once it's slotted in, you can fold the paper back to the original folds. I'm going to let you continue to watch the process of the connection, and I will get back to you towards the end when it might get a little bit more challenging. So this is the last component that we have to connect, and this might be the trickiest part of the whole process because we have to navigate around a couple end pieces that might be getting in the way. So we just deal with one end at a time and lift it over as needed and slot it into that same position, that same corner that we've been slotting it into all along. And I found it easiest to slot in by unfolding parts of that component first and then folding them back the way we had them. And there's just two last end components that we have to slot in. So we'll raise one of those over the side and position it for that corner. And then there's just one left to put into that same position in the bottom right corner. And that completes our cube. Now you can straighten and tidy the cube up as needed. And you can either decide to leave the sides of your cubes open, or if you want to make like a paper lantern out of it with battery powered candles, you can place tracing paper or parchment over those side windows, or whatever you want to call them, the side openings. So just cut your tracing paper or parchment paper out to size, making sure you have a little bit bigger size than the actual opening, because you'll want to be able to glue those sides down around on the inside. So I just placed some glue on an old paintbrush, and then I glued around the edge of that opening where the tracing paper is going to go, and I did that on each side of the opening. Then I laid the tracing paper down over it, making sure that I've covered the entire opening, and then I pressed down on the sides of that tracing paper or parchment paper to make it stick. And then you do that for 5 of the openings, but you want to leave one opening not covered, so that way you can place that over the battery powered candle, and then you'll have a paper lantern. So this is what it'll look like with a multicolored, fading, changing, battery-powered light. I hope you found this tutorial useful. If you did, please like, comment, or subscribe. That helps to support my channel in a big way, and I do appreciate it. Be sure to check out my next video if you enjoyed this one. I'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Take care, everyone, and bye for now.